Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're going to talk about tooling and hand tools, power tools, machinery. We'll get into a lot of stuff, and I'm going to specifically talk about the tooling's costs. So you can either get inexpensive tools, that doesn't necessarily mean low quality, or you can get expensive tools, which don't exactly mean high quality, and everywhere in between. So there's some cost of scale that we're going to talk about, and uses of each. And I'm going to pull a few examples in just to throw at you. So just quick little side story. I used to work for a company, and we got bought up by another larger company that kind of had an umbrella over 5 or 5 different other little companies. So we were all in one giant warehouse. So you had the cabinet shop, you had a machine shop, you had what was the other one? There was a box company that made boxes, and then there was a tool company. And this tool company made really high-end, fine-finish woodworking tools. And as a cabinet maker working in a facility that made fine-crafted hand tools, I was all about getting these tooling. I was like, all right, we can have access to these tools. And I was like, no, you don't get access to these tools. Oh, okay, well, I'll just keep using what I got. But eventually, over time, I was able to acquire bits and pieces of these tools, as some were seconds, some were this type, but we were all under the same companies. And even one time, the boss says, I need a saw. You wouldn't grab me a saw right off the shelf. And it says, we'll take it out of inventory, and it says, go to work. So I went to work. Some of these tools, and I'll go into them. So you got your typical square. $5, Home Depot, any big box store. $5. Plastic, 90-degree angle, does what a square should do. There's a lot of complicated stuff that works in here. Math, hip angles, rafter heights, all kinds of stuff that can go into using a square. Me, 45, 9 degrees, draw a line, done. Okay, that's what it's good for me. $5. You can step up to the blue aluminum version instead of plastic for another $5. So you're talking about up to about $10. Or you can step up to that company I was telling you about, Bridge City Toolworks, and you can spend $150 for this little square. This is a 25th anniversary woodsmith, and I worked there, and I got access to one. So there's $150. This is the same thing. Or another one from Bridge City Toolworks. Yep, they're brass, and they're rosewood, and they're all inlaid and fancy, but if I'm going to have a tool, I'm going to use the tool as a tool, and I'm not going to be ginger about it. I'm going to use it for what I need to do, and that's that. Bridge City Tools also makes this. It's called a hip square. You put it on something square, you draw a line. Fancy-dancy piece of brass and rosewood, but it's fancy. Another thing they make. This piece of straight steel. Just a piece of flat 1/8 inch by 24 inch flat steel. Great for drawing lines, but the price they want, this doesn't have the logo, but the price they want, I'll just go get a standard square. I'll just go get some other straight edge, a level, anything I can use for a straight edge. Even just a sheetrock square like I got over there works just the same. So you can spend $100 on a piece of metal, or you spend $20 on a piece of metal. You can spend $5 on a square. You spend $150 on a square. Same with their rulers. The Bridge City rulers. This is part of the combination squares. I don't have any of those because I didn't have privy to get any of those, but they're awesome. All of the Bridge City tools are flat out awesome. I won't say they're not. They are the cat's meow, top of the top, creme de creme of tooling. And for the hobbyist woodworker, for that really niche woodworker, that's where they fly. That's where they come in, and I can understand that. I really do. But for me, for some people, it's just not worth it. $20, $25. Get them on Amazon, home stores. Just a Japanese style ripsaw. Bridge City Toolworks. Same thing. Does the same job. Performs the same. $150. $20. So you can, like I said, you can spend as much as you want or as little as you want on tooling. So places to get the cheaper tools are Harbor Freight, dedicated tool stores, kind of like your secondhand stores. You can get used tools, flea markets you can get used tools. And I'm not talking bad stuff. I'm talking good stuff. And it really depends on what you're buying. It's like router sets, router bits. You can go to, turn it upside down. You can go to Harbor Freight and get a $20 router set. And these have got all the little 1/4-inch size bits. You got your OGs, you got your cut roundovers, you got your, that's a chamfer bit. All kinds of different bits in there for $20. You need a straight cut, flute cut. But they are okay quality. They will last the hobbyist woodworker enough to get a few cuts. But for a production shop, that's not going to last very long. My router sled, these are my bits. I've got everything I need to do a lot. And if I don't have it here, I've got another set over there. Because this is my 1/2 inch and some of my 1/4-inch bits, but most of my 1/2 inch bits. My favorite one is right here. This is a Cove Step Cove, and it just adds the most delicate little detail on the inside of a cabinet frame, like for a display cabinet. That offers a beautiful, beautiful cut. That's one of my favorites. And each one of these has a dedicated purpose. And I can't remember them all now since I've been out of the shop, but I got them here, and they all do different things that I know. But I've had to buy, like this one, I needed part of the curve to make part. I was making a custom piece of molding with different inlays, different rolls, and different coves. So this one I used for the cove, and then I backed it up by this one here. I added the OG. So I had made a multi-step single piece of molding, multiple passes, but I needed different bits to get that same one piece done. Let's talk about chisels. You can spend a lot of money on a set of chisels. And I got a buddy that wants to spend a lot of money on a set of chisels, and go for it. I've never really had the need to buy a really expensive set of chisels. This one's really sharp. And these are not low end by any means, but they're not high end. These I got for Christmas for my niece. I've never even used them. Oh, I think I used the 1/4-inch one once. But these are really sharp. I kind of baby these chisels, and because they were a gift. And they're not super expensive, but they're expensive enough to where I don't want to use it as a beater chisel and run into cutting nails or anything like that. So I keep these ones kind of special to me. But you don't have to. You can just go to home stores and buy a $10 3-pack. Comes with a 1/2 inch, a 3/4, and a 1 inch for $10, $12, and they cut just as good. You might need to sharpen them often. They might lose their edge quicker, but they'll cut the wood. But some of the high-end chisels, you're able to shave things, and that's the difference between a hobby woodworker and someone that's just like trying to get done. And I'm not saying that as a hack or anything like that, but you're trying to chisel something out to make it right. If you're trying to use it as a finish tool, they make it work they make chisels for finish work as well. Let's go into saw blades. There's a Tenru silencer. I've had this blade. I think I got this in 05. Yes, I got this in 05. And I still use this. I send it out, get it sharpened. I have had a couple teeth replaced, but I buy good blades. These are, I'd say they're $100 right now. I'm over my wall over there. I got some Mutabas. I got a Mutsumida, some really high-end Japanese blade that I don't use very often, and it's not really for specific things. But you can go to Harbor Freight. You can go to any of the local home stores, and you can get decent blades for $20, $30, $50, maybe $70 for a 12-incher, or you can spend some bigger money. But they are these more expensive ones are fully rebuildable. Same with the cheaper ones. It's just, do you want to spend $25 on, or let's say a $50 blade? Do you want to spend $25 of that dollars to have it resharpened once, or just go get a new blade when you don't have to send it out, wait for it to get sharpened, wait for it to come back? This one I do, because I have some really high-end blades dedicated for melamine, dedicated for chip out. You get it dedicated for ripped, dedicated for different tasks. This is a miter saw blade. And so it's different things you do, crosscuts and whatnot. Anyway, let's go into power tools. Hilti. Very, very high-end tool. Very, very popular tool in commercial and high-end remodeling. I've had this. I got this one in 2010. And I have a full set. I have a jigsaw, this, and I have an impactor. They're all here somewhere. Or I also got Ryobi. bought from Home Depot, and they work awesome. I have used Ryobi exclusively in my cabinet shop for a long time because I didn't need a lot of horsepower to move and drill through installing cabinets. It doesn't take a lot, but the Hilti version of Impact versus this one will run out of gas, and a Hilti will still put in another 2 or 3 revolutions worth of impact quality or impacts turning the screw, where this one will give up the gas real soon. Battery life, I've got the same 4 batteries I've had since 10, and they all still work perfectly. So that's one where quality does matter. I've had these go bad in batteries. I've had probably 7, 8 batteries die in this configuration, where I still use these at work on some things. I had the battery powered chop saw because it's only 15 pounds, 20 pounds. I can carry it up and downstairs a lot easier than lugging my 10-inch corded chop saw around. So there's stuff that's special purpose I'll use the Ryobi stuff for. As far as saws, I'm really picky when it comes to a battery powered skill saw. I like the Makitas. I've learned to use these the last 7, 8 years now, and what I do with them is install cabinets commercially, and there's not much I cannot do with a skill saw. I mean, I can, believe it or not, I can cut crown molding, done it. I can cut panels straight as an arrow. You get a guide, you slide it in, you're able to trim, you can do taper cuts, whatever you need to do. Kind of hone my skills on using a skill saw, and I like the Makita the best. That's me personally. Your opinion may differ. Makita, DeWalt, Milwaukee, they're all good tools. They're all going to work. They're all going to fail. It's just, we'll find one you like, but I really like the way the Makita runs. Now let's talk about machinery. Machinery, when you get into that, I'm talking floor model table saws. I'm talking floor model routers or router systems. I'm talking floor model bandsaws, that kind of thing. Stuff, that big shop equipment that sits where they go. You got Powermatic, you got Delta, you've got Porter Cable. Not anymore. Delta Porter Cable is one company, and they're kind of phasing some stuff out. But you've got Grizzly, which is an import, but they make really high-end machinery. I can't deny they make great stuff. And some of that stuff, it can be kind of expensive. Oh, a lot expensive. Forgive me. Yeah, a lot expensive. But some of it is great quality, and some of it I have had to pass on some stuff. I had a spindle multi-bore machine that had 13 heads. It would come down 13 drill bits at one time and drill my panels for adjustable shelves inside of cabinets. The first second I turned that on, I thought that machine was coming apart. It made so much noise that I had to jump back. So what the hell is going on? That was just the way the straight cut gears were, and it was loud. And I took it back the next day. It was a $2,000 piece of equipment. I returned the next day and said, "This thing's too loud. It works, it cuts, but it's too loud. I don't want that kind of noise. I can get something else." So I went back to just doing it the way I was doing it before. But that, so you can get a cheaper version for less. Planers, I like to stick with the DeWalt planer, the little one, the 13-inch contractor style. It does everything I needed to do. I had a big 20-inch Powermatic that would chew up trees. You put a tree in there and it would just eat it up. That was its job. Plane from here to there, move mountains, move material. It would do it, but it really wasn't great at finish planing. And that's when you get down to where you're taking just that last little 64th of an inch off each pass, to where you're coming out almost dead smooth, where almost don't need to be sanded. But then you do your sanding process. So going into that, so there's the machinery you'll find works for you, doesn't work for you. You're asking a lot if you put a small lunchbox style planer, they call those, into a production shop. You're asking a lot to go. You're putting a lot of stress on that one little machine. I used to have two DeWalts. I'd swap them in and out. I'd have to one to take it and get it repaired. I had the second one's back up. When that one died, I'd have the other one ready to go right into place and run on its needs. So those were awesome to have. The big chop saws, miter saws, I run typically the DeWalt 12-inch slides, the 12-inch sliding miter saws. I had two. Again, I had one as a backup and one as a primary duty. And then I would run them and swap them out when they needed repairs or whatnot. I also had the 12-inch fixed miter, so it wasn't a slider. It's just 12-inch blade, fixed miter. And then I had a small, I still do, this one I use every day is a 10-inch Ryobi. That's what I use at the job. Sorry, it's in my van right now. But that's what I use now, just because it's lighter and I got to take stairs. If I'm not taking the stairs, I'll set it up on the bottom floor. But I have to take a lot of stairs, I'll take up the battery-powered one. So I carry a lot of different tools. And these are all tools I keep here at the shop, in the shed. I don't use all of them all the time. I got a lot going on these days. But anyway, that's just a little bit about tool quality, expensive versus cost-effective. And you can get a lot of value out of a cost-effective set of tools. You do not need to spend high-end stuff, high-end money to get a high-end tool when there's an appropriate one that works almost identically the same. So any questions, please put in the comments below. Like, follow, and subscribe, and catch you later.